Hey Facebook, happy Monday, just after 5 o'clock here in Central Time Zone. And I wanted to come on live tonight and kind of do a follow up to a pretty deep question that I posted for a Monday morning, just to get you guys thinking this morning, because it's something that I've been thinking about a lot. Um, Over actually probably about the last maybe 3 or 4 months, but really a lot just over the past couple of days. So the question that I asked was unconditional love. What does that mean to you? And maybe you've had a chance to think about that, or maybe you're just thinking about it right now. I would love to hear your thoughts. Like, what does unconditional love, what does that mean to you? There's no right or wrong answer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I have the perfect answer. I probably have more questions than answers. But I think that this is a topic that is worth talking about, and we're thinking about from a different maybe lens, because we hear this term all the time, especially when it comes to romantic relationships or loving our family. But what does it actually mean to love without conditions? So I want to pose an answer to you that doesn't come from me, but it comes from Abraham-Hicks. So give me a like if you've listened to any of the Abraham-Hicks stuff. And I'll be honest, like for a long time, like her stuff really didn't vibrate with me. It didn't resonate with me. And over the weekend, I do this thing where I binge on YouTube videos. When I'm really curious about a topic or a new teacher, I just kind of binge and binge and binge. And something that kept coming up, and it's come up a lot as I've been having conversations and on my own journey with one of my mentors, this idea of conditions. And as I've been sort of peeling back the layers on my own journey, I've started to see how conditional I am, like how many conditions I have set for myself. So I'm going to pause on that note for just a second, and I'm going to read to you this beautiful view of unconditional love. So unconditional love is holding vibrational alignment with who you are, no matter what is going on around you. Like, how freaking amazing could that be if we could actually live our lives like that? Because if you're anything like me, as I've been going through this process, I've started to see like how many rules and stipulations and crazy beliefs that have to be met in order for me to feel self-love, in order for me to feel peace, in order for me to feel happiness, in order for me to radically accept myself. Like, everything under the sun. I've got to make X number of dollars. I've got to have this kind of a body. I've got to get this much done in the day. And oh my God, if one person doesn't like me, then oh, F, like I'm not going to love myself anymore. Like, literally, I've been down that road for most of my life. And okay, in order for me to have inner peace, like everything's got to be chill. I've got to, have a 30-minute meditation in the morning and a 30-minute meditation at night. And in order for me to feel strong, I have to eat X foods. And in order for me to love that person, they've got to meet all of my expectations. Oh my goodness, like how exhausting is it? No wonder why we're burnt out and stressed out, and we're never happy, and we never feel like we can get enough love, right? From ourselves or other people. No wonder why we can't accept ourselves, because this is me kind of like getting excited with myself. How many conditions have I set for myself that have to be met in order for me to get there? And I believe this definition or this quote about unconditional love, right? Like, she really brings it back to us, like on a very personal level. And I think so many times when we think about unconditional love, at least me, and for most of my life, it was always out here, right? It was like, well, I'm looking for that love, or I need to learn to give that love. But it always has to start with us. It always does, because we can only give what we're willing to give ourselves. And you guys have seen this too. Like, the more we accept ourselves, the more accepting we are of other people. When we become really hard on ourselves, we become hard on other people. And I've seen this like in myself when I'm feeling kind of shitty about myself, and I look in the mirror, like, oh, those are the days when I get on Facebook and I'm like, oh, look at her and look at that and look at them bragging and and sometimes there's this fear of, well, I shine too much, right? But when we're actually confident in ourselves, and if everybody, like you shining and you being your fullest and you unconditionally loving yourself or radically self-accepting, doesn't take away anything from anyone else. And it's taken me a really long time to get that through my head. And it's taken me a really long time to see that a lot of the beliefs that I built for myself around self-love and this idea that in order to love myself, I had to, or I'll love myself when, I'll love myself if. It took me a long time to see, like, you know what? It doesn't have to be that way. Like one day, and just slow, I shouldn't say one day, like slowly over time, I'll get to this place and all of a sudden it's like, ding, 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 wait, it doesn't have to be that way. It's just a belief system. It's something that you've told yourself, but you don't have to continue to believe that. So probably the most, one of the big parts of my journey that I've shared most publicly has been my journey with my body. Like I literally thought I had to be a certain size and a certain weight and look a certain way in order to love myself. And it was based on numbers. It was based on other people's opinions. And finally, like it probably started just with me not being able to keep that up anymore. It started with exhaustion. So I would encourage you, if you're in a place in your life where you're just feeling exhausted, you're feeling like you can't get happy, you can't maintain any steady level of happiness. Because I'll say this, like I've never been an unhappy person. I've never been depressed, but there were the highs and lows, right? And I just feel like there's another way. I just feel like this whole like removing the conditions thing, the more I'm doing it, the happier I'm getting, the lighter I'm feeling, the better I feel about life, the more I'm able to give, the more energy that I have. But all these conditions and rules and crazy belief systems that I had, it was weighing me down. And so I guess my call to action for all of you tonight is just start to observe. Just start to observe the conditions in your life that have to be met in order for you to love yourself, in order for you to love other people, in order for you to feel peace or happiness or joy, or, oh, here's a good one, in order to give yourself permission to have fun. Like there were all these conditions that I had to meet before I could have fun. Like, okay, it's got to be a Friday, a Saturday, maybe half a day on Sunday, but not all day. The rest of the time it's down to business. And I've got to have the whole to-do list checked off, and I've got to have all the things done. I've got to, like the whole list, like just to even allow myself to have fun. Maybe I'm the crazy one here. I don't know. I probably am, because I can be a little high strung, but I know that many of you too are achievers. Many of you have crazy stressful jobs and families and bills to pay, and all these needs that other people have of you. The best thing we can do, yes, there are some things that we can't change, but there are a whole lot of things that we think that we can't, but we really can't. Because I always thought that my happiness, my love, my feeling in love even with another person was dependent on meeting these expectations, meeting these stipulations. What if I just let that go? What if we just relax that just a little bit, one rule, one condition at a time, and just see what happens? Like that's my challenge for you. Just like start to observe those conditions and maybe decide like, hey, some of these really, I don't need these anymore. And I would love to hear from you if it helps, because it's really, really, really been helping me. It's made my relationships so much easier. It's given me so much more energy. Like I can't even begin to tell you. So the best thing I can do is just say to try it for yourself. And there is this fear, right? Like there's this fear if we start to relax our expectations of ourselves or of other people, then it's like, oh, I don't have a standards for myself, or I won't be driven, or I'll become lazy. And I had that fear. I've had that fear all along, but I don't think that's the case at all. I think I stopped nitpicking on the stupid little shit that I didn't need to worry about. I started letting shit go, excuse my language, but it's the truth, right? Like there are so many things that we fixate on that really, in the grand scheme of things, does it really matter? For me, for a lot of the things I was obsessed with, the answer was no. And I'm not any less driven. I don't love my life any less. nothing, nothing is going crazy in my world that's not 100% worth it. Because, we think about also these goals that we set for ourselves, right? And it's all about like we delay the satisfaction, we delay our happiness until we get there, hoping that when we get there, we're going to be happy, we're going to be fulfilled, someone's going to love us. And I started to see like this was the trend that I started to see. Like I was doing all these things so that other people would love me, other people would accept me, other people would think I was worthy. When all I really had to do was just give that worth, that love, that acceptance to myself. And when we do that for ourselves, we stop trying so hard and we start just being ourselves. And honestly, like, aren't those the kind of people that we really just want to be around? The people who are confident enough to be themselves, the people who love themselves enough to have enough to give away, the people who care for themselves if they're not so drained and exhausted and burnt out, or the people that aren't so, like obsessed with trying to be enough. Because honestly, like I'm seeing this in myself now. Like I would get so obsessed with like trying to prove myself and do the things and be enough, then I wouldn't always be there. And this is still something I'm working on to this day, like making the right priorities in my life. So deep breaths. Thank you for the hearts and rant, drop the mic. So I thank you guys. I see a lot of you online, and I'm really grateful that we live in a world where we can come on and talk about these things and people are actually interested, because how many, things do we see out there that are not positive, and it brings us down and it takes us out of that beautiful vibration of love and happiness and peace and harmony and feeling like we're one. One of the things that's been cut out of my mouth a lot lately, and I just really believe this, we are all just running around this world doing the best that we can. So let's give ourselves a little grace and let's give other people a little grace, because this life doesn't come with an instruction manual. I don't think I made that up. I read that somewhere, but it's the truth, right? Like, I don't really think that people are, and maybe there are, I'm not going to say everybody, but I think there's a lot of really good people in this world. And I think a lot of times we're just really insecure and we're trying to prove to ourselves and to other people that we're enough. What if we just accepted that we are? What if we just accepted that other people are just doing the best that they can with what they know how to do? And sometimes we just don't know. We just don't know a better way. And sometimes people have been hurt, and hurt people are the people who hurt other people. Hurting people are the people who hurt other people. So if we can find that love for ourselves and just show up and start to love people unconditionally, that doesn't mean you have to marry everybody or date everybody or, be best friends with everybody, but can we accept people for who they are? And can we accept ourselves, our journeys? Everybody's here for a different purpose, a different reason. We have no idea why we're here. We have no idea why anybody is here. And so who are we to assume that we know all the answers? And who are we to assume that we should know all the answers, right? Like I said, we're all just running around doing the best that we can, trying to figure out why we're here and where we're going, and, trying to feel like we have a purpose, trying to feel that love, trying to feel like we have a place, and trying to figure it out. So that's that. And again, thank you. I feel this has been a beautiful conversation. Angel, yes, other people are doing the best they can do. Yes, can we accept people for who they are? True. So I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think about this? Like, why do you think that conditions, like, how are they showing up? How do you think they show up in this world? What do you think that acceptance would do? What if we accepted ourselves? What if we just radically accepted ourselves no matter what? What do you think would happen? What if we accepted other people? What if we decided to go with this idea and just agree that unconditional love is the way to go? What do you think would happen? I would just love to hear from you guys what you think. Like, would the world go crazy and break down and nobody would want to go out and, make the world go round anymore? Like, what do you guys think? Andrew said, yes, everyone is on a different and unique path. Yes, thank you for that, Andrew. And I totally agree. And I've thought a lot about that. And I got asked a really deep and powerful question from a friend over the weekend. We were having a pretty spiritual conversation, and she was asking me why I think all the bad stuff in the world happens. Like, why does a 35-year-old mom with two kids get cancer? I don't know. I don't know, but I guess what I choose to believe is that there's some loving being out there, and there's some reason we're all here, and we're all here learning different lessons. And from this level of awareness that we have in our human form, like, we don't really understand it all. I don't understand it all, and that breaks my heart, and I'm sure it breaks many of yours as well. And I don't know, but I want to choose to believe that there's something, there's a loving force behind all of this. There's a loving energy. And so I'm just going to leave that at that. But wow, I mean, I really am just grateful for like the conversations that, that we're having. I really do feel that people are becoming more open to talking about some of this kind of stuff that can really change the way we show up in the world and the way we think about things. And so, yeah, it's powerful stuff. So again, for those of you who are just joining, we're talking about unconditional love and radical self-acceptance, and what would happen if we just accepted ourselves, accepted other people. And I think it's really beautiful because we started this conversation kind of about self-love, and I honestly thought it would go kind of along this vein of relationships or romantic relationships, but I feel like we're in this very beautiful energy of like just accepting people for who they are, and understanding and accepting that everyone's on a different path and a different journey. And I'll tell you, just because I love to talk about this, one thing that has really helped me like fall in love with this idea of everyone's got a different energy, a different path, like a unique thumbprint on who they are, is learning about astrology. Y'all, like, if you just know kind of the, like I did for so long, like the surface level of it, like your sun sign probably, it's interesting, but you're like, oh, that's cool. You read your horoscope and you're like, that's cool. If you start to really dig into it and start to see like these beautiful imprints of people's souls, of like their path through life and like why they came here, what they came to learn, like their unique energy, their unique strengths and weaknesses, and there's harmony in all of it, but there's opposites, right? And there's polarity, and that's how it's supposed to be, whether it's in a relationship or in this world. Like, we need all kinds. We really do need all kinds. And we're actually doing a month in my Iron Gypsy tribe on masculine and feminine, and being authentic with ourselves first of all. But that's what it really is coming down to, is like this idea of how can we accept when people are so different, are someone we're in a relationship with, an opposite energy, if you're feminine, a masculine energy, or vice versa. Like, how can we, we try to understand, but we don't always understand. But can we just choose to accept that we're different, and that's good, right? Like, I always want, because I'm a stubborn woman, I always want everyone to think the way I do. I always want things to be my way. There's that stubborn little girl in me. But when I really look at the world, and this is what keeps coming up over and over again, is like this polarity, this duality, these opposites, like this is what makes our world worth living. This is what creates harmony and unity and balance in an interesting world. So yeah, any other comments or questions? We're kind of going in all directions tonight. You guys can ask me anything. Everybody is doing that whole thing on Instagram where it's like, ask me a question, ask me anything. So yeah, I'm an open book. You can ask me whatever, and start chatting. So that's pretty much it. I thank you, all of you, for joining. I'm just going to chill for a bit in case you do have questions. Yeah, I've said this before, but I'm an air sign, as you can probably tell. So air signs, we like to talk. We have a lot of thoughts, and we have a lot of ideas. And specifically, I'm an Aquarius, so sometimes we're kind of out here. So if any of this has resonated with you, let me know. And hopefully it has. But it's been You know, it's been a journey. I didn't think about these things. I did before maybe the last couple of years, but not to the extent that I do now. And there's never a dull moment, right? Like I'm always, and I kind of put that challenge out there to observe the conditions in your life and how they keep us from happiness, from peace, from self-love, from loving other people, from accepting other people or accepting ourselves. But this idea of kind of self-observation is probably one of the biggest things that I've learned on this journey. Like being able to step back and take myself out of the emotion or out of the moment or out of the belief that I have and saying like, okay, what else could this mean? What can I learn from this? Like, okay, beneath that emotion, like what was really there? Because as I said, a lot of times when we get ourselves into these conditions, what we're really looking for is that love or that acceptance. And we're trying to earn it the hard way. And we're trying to control, or I've even used the word like almost manipulate other people into like seeing us a certain way or keeping a certain reputation instead of just giving ourselves that acceptance and that love. So, okay, I'm really going to wrap it up now, but seriously, if you guys have questions, if you want to chat more about this, I really just thank you for joining. I thank you for being a part of a conversation like this. And if you found this helpful, share it, tag people. And if you have anything you'd like me to talk about in a future live, let me know. I'll see y'all soon. Be love, keep your cup full, enjoy the journey, and don't forget to observe those conditions and just see what comes up for you. I love you all. Have a great evening.